Hi guys, AFP Media visited the fishing town of Peterhead near Aberdeen in northeast Scotland, where they spoke to some of the locals about Brexit. One man, a fishing boat owner called Mark Edison, told a reporter that you should be careful what you wish for. He explained how people like Boris Johnson had told those in the fishing industry that things would be better outside the EU. Well, that isn't the case. Mark explains how he and others had been lied to, and while things have improved since Britain left the single market, it has come at a massive cost. Have a listen.
I would say I was on the fence with Brexit. There was a lot of pro-Brexit at the time, not so much against.
I think this is really important to remember, that during the campaign to leave the European Union, you had the Brexiteers on one side, the Nigel Farages, the Boris Johnsons, the Jacob Rees-Moggs, visiting these fishing communities and explaining to them that if we left the European Union, things would improve. And on the other side, you had the Remainers, the Remain campaign, which it seems remained pretty much in London and didn't reach out to these communities, didn't go there and explain to them the benefits of being a member of the European Union, didn't counter the rhetoric from the likes of Boris Johnson, Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nigel Farage. So while Farage in particular was going to these communities, meeting with the people, explaining to them, we need to leave the European Union. If we do, everything will be much better. And there was no real counter to that.
Now it's reality. Careful what you wish for, not so good, but it hasn't turned out like they promised. There's been issues with queues, passports, paperwork, groupage in the lorries. There's always been a something, which is a big problem with a fresh produce like fish. If it's held back a day, it's a problem. It's a day less shelf life.
And of course, we're not talking about packets of biscuits. We're not talking about even cheese, which can stay on a shelf for a number of weeks, months, or even years in some cases. We're talking about something that has a very short shelf life, and if the fish doesn't get through the port, then it goes bad very quickly. And this is a massive cost for the fishing industry. So while other sectors are able to get round some of these problems, it's been, of course, much more difficult for the fishing sector.
In the first few months, there was a huge number of problems. Exporting of seafood dropped by about 80%. A lot of that has now recovered as systems have been sort of refined a bit, and you know, fishermen have sort of worked out how to operate with these new systems. But it's cost them. You know, it does cost them more money. They've lost customers. Their profits have been reduced, and certainly a number of businesses have closed down as a result.
There you have it. So certain sectors have been able to adapt to Brexit. They've been able to work around the problem. But as he has pointed out here, not everyone can do that. Not everyone has the resources available. Not everyone has the money to throw at the problem. So the bigger operators can work around these issues, but the smaller ones can't. And if you can't, then you close down. If you can't, you downsize. If you can't, you try and move your operation somewhere else. But for something like fishing, it's very difficult to do that. And because the fishermen and fisherwomen rely on suppliers and rely on distributors to do most of the heavy lifting, they're disconnected in a sense from the realities of Brexit. They know that we have to sell it we have to deliver the fish, we have to sell it to the distributors, and then they deal with the problems. But if the distributors are suffering the consequences of Brexit, that has to be passed on. It will be passed on to the fishing industry, the rest of the fishing industry. and the fishermen suffer as well. So yes, they are working through these problems. The situation seems to be improving, but none of this was necessary. And unfortunately, many fishermen and fisherwomen were lied to by the likes of Boris Johnson, Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nigel Farage. And unfortunately, they don't seem to be too angry with those people. And I still don't understand why. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.